Good evening. Just a quick update of the garden. I thought I would do a different bed today. So this is a bed that was dominated by a huge pyracantha, this holly that was lower because we've pruned it since and tried to shape it more to a tree, and monster rhododendrons, which were all here when we arrived. There's very little else. So we cut rhododendrons right back to the stumps. So if you're ever scared about pruning things or not sure what to do, I would always suggest just cutting it right back to a stump. So it's a great way of just pulling them right back. They grow out in a nice uniform shape. You can keep them well in check then, and you follow the normal pruning cycles, particularly if you've got something that's unkempt or not as you would like it. It's made a great difference, and I've been able to plant this bed up then as well, which is really good. And at this time of year, it's its absolute fullest. I wouldn't recommend Spanish bluebells to anybody. They look incredible in April. They go really nicely with these totally tangerine geums that are just poking their heads out now. But they're so hard to remove. You'd have to really properly dig them out, because pulling them out doesn't work. Pulling them out just results in this mess here where they detach from the tubers and leave the rest in the ground. So the aqualegias do amazingly here, so they do really, really well. They were here when we got here, but really controlled by the size of the shrubs. Take the shrubs out and all of a sudden they've absolutely exploded. And speaking of absolutely exploding, this poppy, or Papaver orientalis, which I think is Livermore, not certain. It's red and black and it's stunning, like really big. Doesn't last very long, so it's quite fleeting. It dominates the bed until it does pass over. The seed heads with poppies are really nice as well, particularly decorative in vases and things. But I'm hoping this year to cut it right back. So just after it flowers, you cut it right back and it starts to regrow and sprout from the base. At which point you can lift it and divide it quite easily and pot it up, and it does really well. So I'm hoping to divide that and spread it amongst the bed, because it's a really, really good plant that's doing really well here. The rose we've got here is Rosa Golden Beauty, or Rosa South Africa, I think is its other name in other countries. It's a close relation to Ab Fab, a little bit more orange, a little darker yellow, almost no scent or fragrance, but I do really like it. I like the colour. It does quite well in this bed. It's very vigorous, so whilst it looks like it's being dominated here as the poppy cuts back, the rose really does grow into its own. And it's really healthy actually, considering that it's getting challenged quite heavily by the poppy, by the lilies behind it, by the geraniums that are growing around here as well. So here it doesn't get an easy run of it, but it does really, really well. The flowers in the rhododendron, by the way, are just stunning. The wife was distinctly unimpressed when I hacked them back to wooden stumps and we got no flowers for like 2 years. So now, nice that they've come back. There's a stunning one over there actually, if I just zoom in. It's a beauty. Yeah, he's coming back, and there's quite a few of them as you make your way down, so yeah, they're doing really well. They like it here, so clearly we'll keep those in. A randomly self-sown peony of all things, so it didn't used to be there, has been but it's plonked itself there and it's doing quite well, so we'll see. Behind the self-sown peony and the couple of lilies, I've got a few other lilies here as well, really highly fragrant red ones that are planted this year from bulbs. Claude something or other, I think the name is. But yeah, we'll see how they go, but they're doing really well so far. But yeah, the rose behind it is actually finally starting to do quite well. I was very disappointed with this rose for the first 18 months, so basically most of last year, a little bit of the year before, and now it's just starting to go. It's looped and tied a little bit into this obelisk, so that's probably helping it. It's got quite a bit of black spot though, if you look really far down the plant. But yeah, that's Bring Me Sunshine. Like, I see a lot of reviews of this rose doing really well, and for me, meh, you know, it's okay. I would choose probably this Golden Beauty or Abfab or Belle de Jour ahead. Not my favourite Austin at all. I'm hoping this year that it's supposed to be fragrant, maybe it's because it's too far from the path, but all I can say really is I've been really disappointed with that so far. Really disease prone, weird growth. Can't decide if it's a climber or a shrub. Needs an obelisk or support, but without either it's, yeah, doesn't do well. So what does do well, I'll skip past the totally tangerines and the lilies for a second, but in there we've got a peony which is an Ito hybrid, so that's an intersectional peony. It's cracking. It holds really firm stems through till the end of the year. It doesn't die back entirely, so it always leaves a framework above ground. So yeah, it's probably its 4th year now, I want to say, so there's probably 12-15 buds all over it, and the flowers are quite big, they last quite long, so it's more weather repellent than a standard herbaceous peony. Yeah, they do take time and they're expensive, like pricey in comparison to most peonies. You know, it's 50-60 quid for a peony, which is, you know, don't tell the wife it was that much, by the way. It was a tenner if she asks. But yeah, it's doing really well now. It's really coming into its stride, so that's good. We've got the lark ascending here, just cropping up in this corner against the fairly rough homemade gate and pergola, just to keep the kids' play area a little bit safe and separate when we need it to be. So yeah, I've got lark ascending dominating this corner. Last year she went right up here, so I'm hoping this year will be the same and she'll do really well. Put plenty of GM totally tangerine in this bed. It just goes really nicely with the bluebells that are already in here, and when the bluebells fade, the summer colour from about July onward, the only colours evident in this bed will be reds, yellows and oranges. So I've got a warm colour theme at the back end of summer. There's no real colour, I would say, at this time of year. The blues, pinks with a little bit of orange in there really does, I think it stands out and pops quite nicely. But as you get to sort of August, September, it's quite nice to have those warm tones, those burnt oranges, reds, yellows, etc. There's a few lupins in there. This is in fact that's a thistle. Get that out in a minute when I've got a glove on. That's a Nyphophia. Again, no idea of the name or the cultivar. And there's some potted ones in there. Actually, I do need to move them. They were potted around, like scattered around the beds, but they were getting overgrown, so I need to move them and replant them. And then I've been watching a couple of other videos that I really like, and seen some. These are Heliopsis bleeding hearts. So this one is bare root, and I've grown some from seed in the greenhouse, which I'll do a different update on. I'm kind of hoping that they come out fairly similar, but we shall see whether the seed grown varieties do better or worse than the bare root one. But yeah, that should be quite a nice burnt colour towards the back end of the season. Here, just in case, you know, I need a cheaper way of a second divorce. These are ricin plants, primarily for foliage, obviously, all jokes aside. They, I would be very careful with the seeds. They tell you to wear gloves with the seeds and whatnot, so they're up here on the wall at the minute just to stop the kids grabbing them or the dogs nibbling at them. But they should get really tropical-esque, quite big foliage, I hope. So looking for some really big, tall, serrated, big leaves that'll fit into the gaps in the borders between the roses and things in midsummer. So we shall see. For a packet of seed, I'm hoping they'll do quite well. And this is a honeysuckle. It's one of the most fragrant varieties, called Graham Thomas. So Linacea Graham Thomas. Came really well recommended, and I'd like it to grow up and over the archway and gate and pergola onto here. Clematis looking really good actually this time of year. We're going to hack that back in about a month, so if you follow the Montedon ethos of if it flowers before June, don't prune. You might not, but in my mind that's to stop. If it flowers before June, you'll just lose the flowers that year. So I'm going to cut this right back and get it into a nice tidy shape on this wall. We've got a couple of climbing rose there, so Madame Alfred Carrier just growing up there, and Kordes rose here called Madame Anisette just sat below it, but I'll do this bed another time. This forsythia is huge. I left it alone because I butchered it in year one, so I had no clue what kind of shrub it was at all and how it would grow, what it would look like, but it flowers on last year's growth. So actually this year, for the first time I'd let it grow, it was smothered in yellow flowers. Hello, Harlow. Garden assistant.
Bye bye, Daddy. Bye.
Bye bye, Daddy.
Bye bye, Daddy. Bye bye, Daddy. iPad.
Stop pushing. Stop pushing. Monkey.
Daddy. No.
I'm being locked in if I don't get out. Not exactly the most entertaining part of the video, that, I don't think. But we'll carry on regardless. I'll just do a quick sweep around here. So I'll speed this up as we're past 10 minutes already. So this is the Poet's Wife. A little bit of black spot here, I think partly down to the weather. A little bit down to the weather. But also I think I transplanted this last year. She was in the courtyard, got about half a day of sun. Wasn't doing great and definitely wasn't in a place where I would walk past it. Yeah, you can see it's just struggling in a few places, but we'll keep pulling that off bit by bit and see how it does. It's covered in buds though this year, which it hasn't been in previous years, so it tells me it does really like this area, but I think maybe it's not liking the competition from the bluebells down below. So, but if it pops into flower just as this rhododendron's still flowering, I think it'll look incredible. Next to it is a cutting of the beast that we're about to see. So that's a Roldal cutting on its own roots. Cotoneaster here. This thing, I mean, it'd take over the world if you let it, but it does attract pollinators like nothing you've ever seen. There's tiny little red flowers and there's everything normally smothered all over it come midsummer. So it's a good plant. You know, there's one over there that's had a year's less of being butchered. This Alstroemeria here is a bright yellow, standing up really well, so hopefully we don't get a big storm between now and the back end of summer, because they're quite tall and leggy, but they're incredible when they all flower at the same time. So providing they can stand up, they do get battered a bit by the winds here, so we shall see. Fingers crossed we don't get any strong winds before they flower, because they look great and they're good to pull and bring into the house. And a cheeky little Dutch iris in here, just minding his own business. No idea where he came from. I didn't plant him. Quite like it. So, yeah, and this monster is a happy Roldal. So David Austin Rose Roldal. If you get a Roldal and he finds his feet that he's happy, he will absolutely kick on, because this thing has got absolutely covered in bloods. It's 5 years old, so it's a fairly big rose. Now substantial, big thick canes at the bottom. Takes cutting back. I've tried to double layer the pruning, so I don't know if you can see, but so I cut the outer canes shorter, then I left the back ones a bit longer, so it should give me a bigger, more rounded shrub, but we shall see. It's the other side of this rhododendron. So David Austin Rose here, there's a couple of buds. Summer Song, don't see too many updates on this one. It's quite tall, it's quite lanky. It's definitely being smothered by all sorts of various Welsh poppies and geraniums, bluebells, etc. So we'll see how it does. We just move around here. We've got some more geum. This one's Blazing Sunset, I want to say it's called. Yeah, it's a good plant actually. It's a good doer, that one. A division of Alstroemeria Indian Summer that'll be coming into flower soon. More geraniums. These heleniums here, I've divided and spread them a bit, so they should make a nicer clump this year as well. More of the rhododendrons here. Put a cardoon in there, see how it'll do. I think if it can fill that gap and just throw them up some big, those spiky globular thistle-like heads at the top, and I'll be buzzing with that. And that is a Vanessa Bell cutting. One of the best David Austins you can take cuttings of, to be fair. It roots dead readily, it grows into great plants, it does really well on its own roots. So if you've got a Vanessa Bell, get a cutting. Better still, if you know somebody that's got one, take a cutting of theirs and then you've got a free one. Just finally, don't quite know what these are. They've been here since we moved in, but as I've cleared the beds, they've started to grow and flower more readily, so there's a few of them. So yeah, we'll try and take cuttings of that and spread it out, because I think it's quite nice. This is the Lady of Shalott. Don't know why I had to think about it when I put a sign in front of it. So she's doing really well. It's only her 3rd year now, so I'm hoping for real big solid things from her in years to come. We've got some perennial sunflowers there with the Arundo Donax reeds just there at the back. They prefer it a bit wetter, so they've not done as well this year. It's been quite dry. Flowering currants, which look great in the spring, doing well. This rose is one from Twin Centrum Lotum, which is called La Villa Cotta. It's doing really well. It's doing okay, I would say. I'm hoping it'll do well here. What is doing well here is another Roald Dahl cutting, so he's coming on great. And speaking of great, this rhododendron's just stunning. Deep purple, flowers at the back end of May, when most of the others have gone over. Yeah, it's a really, really good plant. It's utterly smothered in bees, if you can't see that already. Another geranium here, doing well on top of the wall. And then another rhododendron, which is sort of leaning through this one, which is in a softer pink. So as you can tell, the previous owner did love his rhododendrons. I would say these Crocosmias, don't plant them unless you want a lifetime of trying to get rid of them. Keep them in pots or keep them contained. Flower lovely, they grow well, they do nice, they fit in nicely into all kinds of colour schemes and borders, but they're a right pain in the ass to get rid of. You know, you'll never get rid of them fully, so just one to be aware of. Put some, it's a small Rebecca, a mini version at the front, and I've bought 3 of these. We're in half dead, half off in the winter, so we need to get them planted soon. And we've got a hydrangea just behind that I'm hoping will get some big stems this year, so I can kind of leave the flower heads at the back above the roses and the rhododendrons, fill that gap there, fingers crossed. So yeah, that's bed for now. So I will do another update of some of the other beds. Got a lovely sunset today, so filled the circular patio with roses over the last couple of weeks, and the dog proof fencing again erected there to try and let things establish. So we'll do an update of what's gone into that bed in due course, and we'll finish the video with Bella enjoying the weather.